Everyone. Welcome to Sync Academy and welcome to our July G2 challenge questions. So today we're actually going to have 5 questions, problem solving together. And let's take a look at the first question. So the first question, we want to fill in the blanks with either plus or minus to make the equation both sides equal to each other. So let's observe a little bit closer to what we have here. Okay, so the first question, we have 131 minus 78 minus 22 equals to 131 minus, well, the heading thing is actually what we call the parentheses. So parentheses 78 and 22. So what sign should we fill in? So here, one thing you can think about is if you go with the logic, let's say we have 131 candies. And then we eat 78 at the first day, then we eat 22 at the second day. We are left with 31 candies, right? But now the parentheses, you can think them like a bag. So we first pack everything we want to eat in a bag. So if it's in a bag, should we plus or minus? Very good, we should plus, right? So this is one way to think about it, go with the story. The other way you can think about it is because in front of the parentheses, we have a minus sign, right? So actually minus sign is the real devil because whenever we have minus sign in front of the parentheses, we always need to change the sign inside the parentheses. Okay, so same as the next one. This time we want to add the parentheses behind the minus sign between 56 and 44. We should do plus or minus. Very good. We should also do plus. Okay, because again, this is a minus sign in front of the parentheses. So the real devil will change the sign inside the parentheses. Okay, so this is the first question. And then the second question. So the second question is, according to the pattern, which figure should be put in the blank? So here, the first question is, how do we look at this figure? So one thing is you can actually start with the most similar one. So if we look at, one thing is we want to look at row by row because each row is actually a bit similar, right? So this is very important. We want to first observe in order, okay? So we're not going to randomly see this picture and the other picture. We're going to observe in order, which is we're going to look row by row. What are the pattern we might have? And the other thing is to become a pattern master, there are several steps for us to do, okay? So we can use the first row to observe what might be our pattern. But we are not 100% sure, right? So the second row is used for us to check and verify if this is actual our pattern. And then the last row, when we want to put down the answer, we can apply our pattern. Okay, so if you look at the first row, can you probably take a guess what might be the pattern? There are a lot of possibilities, right? So one thing we can start with is we can start with the simplest figure. Which one is the simplest? So now we see that all of them have a square outside, right? But inside, what do we have? So if I highlight this part, where can I find this? Okay, so let's take a look. So I can find these two, right? But how about the middle two line? Not really. All right, so let's look at the other one. So here in the middle, we have a shape that looks like this. Can we find it? Can we find all of them? We can find part of it, right? We can find this part. We can find this part. Also this part and this part. So why we are missing something, right? We're missing what? So guys, because inside of the second and third figure, both of them have the same little one here, right? So we are actually canceling them out. We are not going to have it, okay? Again, this is our observation, right? We're not sure. It looks like we are trying to cancel out the same part, keep the difference part, but we are not sure. So let's take a look at the second one. So before we move on, you can see. So we actually combine the first. All right, so here for the second one, are we combining the middle one together? Yes, we does, right? So do we have any same part? Not really, right? So this part we can find it. This part we can find it here. The other part is from the third figure. And we see we don't have any same part, so we just combine them together, right? And how about the last part? Let's first figure out which part are we not gonna draw, okay? Which part are we not gonna draw? Oh, very good. This part, we're not gonna draw it, right? Because both of them have this. And what else? Do we have anything else? Yes, this part, we're not gonna draw it. But for the others, we can keep it, right? So again, first of all, it has to be in a square. And then let's take a look at what should we have, okay? So first of all, we need a diagonal line like this, right? We have this here. We have this in all the figure. And secondly, we need a line like this. Which one do we have? Only the first one, right? So probably B, C, D are all wrong, but we are not sure. So let's see. So we still need this shape, right? And we can see we have this in choice A. So A is our correct answer. Okay, alrighty. So then for the third question. So the third question is Lisa is lining up to buy cupcakes. And she is the 19th in the line. And there are as many people in front of her as people behind her. What does this mean? Very good. It means the number of people in front of her is the same as the number of people behind her, right? And we want to know how many people are there in total to getting the cupcakes. So one thing we can do is when you look at this, usually when we do the word problem, don't just try to write a number. We always want to try to write down the steps. Okay, so for the steps writing, here we are actually going to first draw a beginning point. Okay, so this is actually the front. This is the starting point. So we start from here. So this is where they can get the cupcake. Okay, and then now we first draw our main character, which is Lisa, right? So we're gonna use a star to represent Lisa. And she is the 19th. If she is the 19th, I have a question. How many people are in front of her? Is it 19? No, very good. Because if it's 19 people in front of her, then she should be the 20th, not 19th, right? Which means how many people are there in front of her? Very good. 18, right? So if it's 18, I'm too lazy to draw out everyone, so I'm going to use circle to represent them. So we know here we have 18 people in front of her, which means behind her we have also 18, right? Because it should have the same number. So this is 18. So do you think our answer is 18 plus 18 equals to 36? Because we forgot a very important person, which is our main character, Lisa, right? So don't forget about Lisa, which means our final number should be 18 plus 1 plus 18 equals to 37. So 37 is our final answer. So drawing the figure definitely is very helpful for us to finding out the answer. All right. Okay. So the fourth question, we have Cindy and Sarah like reading very much. So within a week, they read a total of 26 books. And Cindy actually read 8 more than Sarah. And want to know how many books did Cindy read in the week? And how about Sarah? So here we know the total is 26 and they have a difference of 8, right? So usually you guys will try to find two numbers that will add up to 26 and have a difference of 8. But this is going to be very difficult if we have 3 people. if we have a very big number of total. Okay, so what we can do is we can actually draw a figure to help us visualize what is happening here. So we're going to use a line to represent the number of books that Sarah reads. So if this is the number of books that Sarah reads, Cindy should have a longer or shorter line. Very good. Cindy should have a longer line because Cindy reads more than Sarah, right? And then we're going to do something here. We are actually going to separate from here because this line actually separates the same part and the difference part. Once we know this, it's easily for us to see that what number should I put it here? Very good, 8, right? Because this is the 8 extra that Cindy has. And we're not done. The other information we know from this question is they have a total of 26. So now when we are doing the question, you can actually assume the two same part as triangle. And we will see that actually triangle plus 8 will give us 26, which means the triangle plus triangle will equals to 18 and the triangle will equals to 9. Okay, and once we figure out this, we know this part is 9, this part is also 9. So our final answer is Sarah actually reads 9 books in the week and Cindy reads 9 plus 8 is 17 books in the week. Okay, so here, well, the reason why we're drawing the dotted line here is actually we want to take out the extra part from the total so that we only need to look for two same numbers that add up to the 18. Okay, all right, and then we're going to go to our last question. So we have Jenny puts 9 flags every 2 meters on one side of the road. And the width of the flag is, we don't need to look at it, okay? We want to know the distance between the first flag to the 9th flag. So first of all, we need to figure out what are the space in between, right? So one thing is very important is the number of items will equal to the number of spaces plus 1. The reason is very simple. Think about our finger. We have 5 fingers, right? So we have 5 items. But for the spaces in between, we have how many? We only have 4, right? Because the outside 2 are like the boundary. So we can only have the middle 4, okay? So which means here, if we have 9 flags, how many space do we have here? Very good. If we have 9 flags, the number of spaces is going to be 9 minus 1 equals to 8. And then we see every 2 meters, this is actually what? This is talking about the space, right? Each space is 2 meters long, which means the total distance is what? The total distance is going to be 8 times 2 equals to 16 meters. Okay, so this is one way. The other way is you can actually draw them out, right? You can draw this as 2, another 2, another 2, another 2, another 2, 2, probably 2 here. Then you will also see that this add up to 16. Okay, so all right, so these are all the questions we have for this month. And I actually want to hope to see you guys very soon at the Academy. Okay, bye-bye. See you.